This is the German overview. I have already done the Austrian overview and I have already done the Russian overview. I have played a portion of the game so far. I did their turn, I did their turn. Now I'm on the Germans' turn. Russia just went. So the Germans are the most powerful faction in this game. They have a total of 35 IPCs. The only country that can rival them in IPCs is the United Kingdom, because they have 30. But even then, the United Kingdom does not have the same amount of land forces as Germany. The average army consists of 6 soldiers and 2 artillery pieces, right? Germany's land armies consist of 7 infantry and 3 artillery pieces. They're a step up. Germany has more powerful armies, and they have more armies on the board than any other faction, at least from so far what I've seen. Anyway, their main army is in Berlin, and it is this army that you have to decide to go east or to go west. I'm going to go to the southern tip of the board just to avoid any confusion. Not only does Germany have an army here in Berlin that is 13 soldiers, but it also has another army down here in Munich that is a total of 11 soldiers. Historically, the Germans went west and they tried to knock France out of the war, then so they could turn east. However, most players very often decide to go east, because one thing that I did not mention to you guys during the Russian overview was that Russia actually has to deal with both of the most powerful factions on the board at the same time. So that is the reason as to why very often Russia is the first faction to end up going. If not before the Ottomans, they're the first ones to go. That being said, I'm going to do the Germans' turn, and I'm going to show you what I purchased. The Germans have a total of 35 IPCs. So considering how many troops that the Germans have and the fact that they have the most infantry on the board, they're going to need a larger artillery supplement than most other nations. So I've supplemented the German army with a large amount of artillery. As you can see, the quantity is almost the same, but I purchased a certain amount of infantry because 35 IPCs is quite a lot of IPCs, and the Germans need to be offensive as possible. The Central Powers, just like the Axis powers, needs to be as offensive as possible. So good old Heinz here, never ever backs down from the challenge. Look at that. That's cool. I love this time period. Anyway, I decided I'm going to take the historical route and I'm going to attack France. Obviously, I'm going to invade Belgium, because if I invade Belgium, I can cut off the English from landing troops in Belgium. So I'm going to send 7 troops and 3 artillery into Belgium. I'm also going to take troops from Alsace. 7 troops from Alsace and 3 artillery from Alsace. This is a massive attack. The Belgians, who have 2 IPCs worth of value, 2 times 2 equals 4. So they're going to get 4 units, one of them being artillery. However, I'm not going to bother placing them down because there's no point. More than likely, this is like 100% guarantee almost. that they are not going to survive this. Unless the Germans roll that terribly, that fucking terribly, Belgium is not going to survive. So I'll roll for that. Two hits, as fucking always. On average, if there are 4 units defending, the average amount of hits that is going to be given is 2. So I'll take two troops away from the Germans. Now that the Germans have taken Belgium, let's also attack into Poland. 7 troops from Silesia and 3 artillery from Silesia. 7 troops from Prussia and 3 artillery from Prussia. Attack into Poland. We want to make sure that we contest the war over here on Russian soil. We don't want them to gain income from this region. And we damn well sure don't want to have the war on our soil. We need these 2 territories. And we have a great enough supply line. 1, 2. We have a good enough supply line from Berlin. And Berlin has a fat stack of troops and artillery. So good old Heinz knows what it's doing. Knows what he's doing. I'll roll for them later. The German Navy also needs to attack the British. However, I don't think that's a good idea considering the fact that, yeah, the British have 1 extra battleship compared to us. They have an extra battleship. We may got submarines, but submarines only hit on a 2. I'm going to have to bring these submarines up here and then attack the British on round 2. So with those 2 attacks being said, anything else I need to do? Oh yeah, right here. We are going to invade Angola and we are going to invade Belgian Congo. We have just declared war on the Portuguese pretty much. And since we've taken a Portuguese neutral territory, that means that the Portuguese enter the war. Don't worry about Belgium. We've already taken their whole... We have cut the British off, and now we are going to advance on the French. We must now move on to the combat move phase. No, not combat move. We have to move on to the non-combat move phase. The non-combat move phase, we are going to move this fat stack of troops from Munich into Alsace to prepare for a French counterattack. Or I shouldn't even say counterattack because we haven't even attacked France yet. So I'm going to move them up to Alsace to prepare for the French attack that is probably going to come across the Franco-German border. I'm going to move these troops into Belgium, and I'm going to move these troops, 1, 2, into Belgium. In order, oh, I forgot something. The Germans also have a plane. So in order to convince the Allied player that we are going east, I'm going to take this fat stack of German troops and I'm going to move them to the east. If France thinks that we are going to the east, if the Allied player thinks that we are going to the east, they are likely going to throw themselves at us. And because our forces are so strong in number, that we are likely going to slaughter them with our machine guns. Yeah. Going to move these submarines up here. Yeah, hold on. 1, 2. Okay. So we've concentrated our navy. We've done our attacks. I'm going to place our German units on the board. Yes, sir. 5 infantry and 4 artillery. And that is the German turn. The Germans have a total of 35 IPCs. We just conquered Belgium, which is 2 plus 2. And we just conquered 2 African territories. So that is a total of 39 IPCs. The German player collects 39 IPCs. So that is the German turn. I have to say, as the German player, you have to decide whether to go west or whether to go east. Most players, as I said before, go east because Russia cannot handle both of these nations by themselves. So, that's all I have to say for the German turn. But I'm bold. I want to be bold. I'm trying to go and see if I can conquer France. Either way, if I ever need to reinforce this front, I can simply just take whatever units I draft and send them into Poland. On to the French turn.